look at things behind the scenes and, address issues that need to be addressed. So let's lay it, and then we'll pick it up. We'll pick up the pieces.
Honourable members. Members, order paper addendum, item numbered 1. Presentation of papers. Chairman of the committee.
Okay. Okay. Report of the special committee to conduct a full-scale investigation into the event which occurred at the public hearing at the appointment committee on Thursday, 30th and Friday, 31st January 2025.
Honourable members, report duly presented, and it is for the distribution to honourable members of this August House. Honourable members, the sense is to defer item numbered 2 and 3 on the order paper addendum. Leadership, is that the agreement?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. That is the agreement. Yes.
Very well. Any indication?
Mr. Speaker, we would like to go to item number 6 and look at statements.
Very well. Honourable Minority Chief Whip, let me have a copy of your statement. But honourable members, national or state security agencies. Honourable member, you have the floor. Member, you have the floor.
Speaker, I'm grateful for the opportunity. Speaker, on Thursday, 22nd May 2025, in some Adrei municipality was hit with a tragic and regrettable incident which resulted in the death of one resident of the Adrei township and left others injured. Several properties were vandalized indiscriminately, and some of those scenes were recorded by terrified onlookers. Because as the Member of Parliament for the constituency, I had the opportunity to inquire from committee leaders shortly after the news broke to seek adequate urgent intervention from our state security agencies, having hindsight of the extent to which such disturbances could go if not strategically neutralized. In the same regard, Mr. Speaker, I make these statements as an urgent call for intervention by the state security forces and related agencies, the Ghana Police Service, the National Security, and the Ministry of Local Government, Chieftaincy, and Religious Affairs, to help bring this sporadic outbreak of violence to a definite end. The statement is also a preliminary address on the matter particularly because many videos have circulated in the media that depict a gruesome atmosphere in Farmer-herdsmen, an area which is typically bustling with traders and many road users who frequent the place. Mr. Speaker, it is important, therefore, to give some sense of the situation to the residents and public who have seen the videos of violent activities in Adrei. Speaker, while causes are yet to be fully verified, it is known from prevailing narratives that two groups of people believed to be affiliated to the Adrei community and the Adrei Zongo community were actors in the incident that left the entire township in a state of apprehension. Several people were injured, vehicles, stores, and shops were vandalized, and others set ablaze in what appeared to be a retaliation from one group after an earlier incident. All these owing to long-standing differences between Adrei and Adrei Zongo natives. It is believed that this spark of tension can be traced to events that took place a week prior to this very mishap. I was informed that a small group of unidentified people attacked a young man in the township, which began a chain of retaliation. Given their individual affiliations with the larger factions of the community, the heated engagement elevated to a full-scale conflict that has now brought about the death of a young man. Mr. Speaker, it is worth noting here that these conflicts stem mainly from chieftaincy disputes that are ongoing in the area. It is indeed true that Adrei Township has been unfortunately occasioned with chieftaincy disputes in the past, though not all the events turn out as open conflict. Various notable activities as far back 2007 contribute to the growing differences between the groups. We recall just 2 years ago in August 2023, 2 people were killed in the township on chieftaincy disputes. The Ghana Police Service, through its police command, other than Farmer-herdsmen, municipality moved in great numbers to prevent the conflict from claiming more lives at the height of the tensions. Speaker, these heinous acts have been condemned consistently by all stakeholders. As members of Parliament, as a House, it is our duty to deliberate these matters not only in the context of an ongoing spillover of chieftaincy disputes, but also a governing body that assesses the root causes and put measures in place to prevent them from taking shape. These measures will emanate from our debates and through collaborations with the state security agencies as well as the ministry responsible for chieftaincy and religious affairs. We should therefore prioritize the debates and brainstorm ways which will be best suited to address the area-specific chieftaincy dispute that affect this in many other towns across the country. Mr. Speaker, permit me to acknowledge the efforts of the Eastern South Regional Police Command, DCOP Ohini Bwedi, and the Police Divisional Command, Superintendent Stephen Apia, for their swift responses to the incident. The collaboration between their uniformed officers and residents were critical in salvaging the chaos to a great extent. Speaker, indeed, we saw heavy deployment of police officers leading to the arrest of many suspects involved in this incident that took place last week. Again, Mr. Speaker, with the swift intervention of the Minister for Interior, Honorable Mohammed Mubarak Muntaka, who doubles as the head of national security, coordinated strategies were employed to deal with the violence in a timely manner. The people of Farmer-herdsmen are indeed grateful. Speaker, nonetheless, this is work in progress. Our concerns are still rooted in the need to take hold of these disturbances even before they spiral out of control. The call for an enhanced security architecture, including a broader collaboration with the national security, who obtain and act on intelligence, is critical now more than ever. Because the trend suggests that we also need to take a forceful approach to rid the community of these volatile security threats in Farmer-herdsmen and in other parts of our beloved country. Mr. Speaker, through this August House, I earnestly call on all residents to exercise restraint and uphold the rule of law. Let us not forget that we are one people, and the peace and stability of Farmer-herdsmen is our collective responsibility. We remain committed to working with all stakeholders to first ensure the safety of people, to bring justice for losses suffered, to foster reconciliation, and to create a system for long-term peace. Speaker, thank you for your indulgence. I'm grateful.
Honourable members, the statement ably made, and it is now for your comment. Yes, Honourable Zaneto Ajiman Rollins, you have the floor.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, for the opportunity to comment on the statement made by the Honourable Member for Nsawam Adrei. Mr. Speaker, I think increasingly chieftaincy disputes have become a threat to our national security, cohesion, and stability, which obviously is becoming a problem in this country. Presently, there are over 200 disputes in this country that are based on chieftaincy and land disputes, which is not acceptable given that we are a democracy, given that we have all the necessary frameworks in place to deal with some of the issues that we're seeing. Mr. Speaker, it would appear that when it comes to the issue of chieftaincy, far too many people, individuals and groups feel that they are justified in the use of firearms in settling scores, which is in breach of all our laws. And I would hope that, Mr. Speaker, in addressing the issues that we're seeing around chieftaincy, we're not making exceptions in how the law is applied, because that is a trend that we're seeing all across this country. Too many people are in possession of too many illegal arms and are using them in the name of chieftaincy disputes, which is also causing a lot of instability. And this happens all the way from Boku right down to Nsawam and to other parts of Greater Accra and the rest of the country. Mr. Speaker, indeed, we have seen the police acting as they ought to, but I think that we also need to perhaps have a broader conversation on the issue of how chieftaincy disputes are being addressed in the country. There appears to be a little bit too much political interference in some of these cases, and we're going to have to be dispassionate and apolitical in how these matters are addressed if we are to ensure that there's a reversal in some of these conflicts and we go back to a more stable scenario in this country where law and order are respected by all and the flouting of our laws is not justified by chieftaincy disputes. I would like to offer my condolences to the family that lost a relative and to wish a speedy recovery to those who were injured in the process, but to also once again urge that the Ministry of Interior and, of course, National Security are given the relevant equipment that is required to actually support the efforts to help maintain law and order in our country. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Yes, Honourable Member, you have the floor.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, Mr. Speaker, to contribute to a statement made by my brother, the Honourable Member for Nsawam Adrei, Honourable Anno Domprey. Mr. Speaker, conflict is inherently part of the human society. But when it becomes violent to the point that we are losing lives, and gradually young people are grouping, and they are attacking each other, it should be a worry to every member of this country, very particularly those of us who represent the very good people of the various constituencies. Nsawam Adrei has been a very peaceful constituency over the years. And I am surprised that very small or tiny issues that are emerging from Nsawam Adrei is gradually becoming something that is defining the constituency in a very dirty image. I believe that the Honourable Member of Nsawam Adrei is making this statement and calling on stakeholders to come on board for us to nip it in the bud, because we have one too many conflicts in this country that is threatening the very existence of our nation. And all of us should rise up. Wherever it is happening, let's solve it. We have too many institutions in this country to say we're suffering from conflict. We have the National Peace Council. We have the various security agencies under the security sector. And all of us should come together to ensure that what is happening in Nsawam Adwogyiri is stopped today and stopped forever, because it is not good for our image. Mr. Speaker, we are talking about codifying succession or lineage of our various skins or various tools. Many a times, it is the confusion that erupts as a result of nobody is aware of who is the next to be enskinned, who is the next to be enstooled. If we go further to codify all our laws, very particularly in the chieftaincy institution, it will be very clear as to who is the next in line. In case the chief dies today, we should be able to know that this is the next person who will be enskinned, or this is the next person who will be enstooled. Without clarity, we always have all these confusions, and people are struggling, probably using money to get involved in things that are not supposed to be the issue. Mr. Speaker, I support the call by the Honorable Minister that all state agencies responsible for managing conflict and managing crime to come on board for us to push an agenda to solve the problem in Nsawam Adwogyiri. Nsawam Adwogyiri is so peaceful, and we'll have to let it return to the status quo. I'm so grateful. Thank you very much for the statement.
Thank you very much, Honorable Peter Tobu-Lanchiri. Yes, Honorable Member, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Speaker, I rise to contribute to the statement made by the Honorable Member of Parliament for Nsawam Adwogyiri, Honorable Frank Babna Anodompre. Speaker, Nsawam is one of the traditional communities well known in Ghana. Speaker, it is surprising to find out that Nsawam, that used to be one peaceful area, is all of a sudden degenerating into a conflict-prone area because of chieftaincy issues. Speaker, it is important that as a country, and not just in Nsawam Adwogyiri, a whole lot of flashpoints, traditional communities that are very peaceful and starting to stay or live there, is now becoming one very dangerous area that we need to avert our minds to. Speaker, it is not surprising that the United Advisory Policy quite recently conflict-prone area because of some of these chieftaincy issues that were made reference to in the report. Speaker, as a country, as a house, I think we should refer some of these matters to the able committees to look at. Critically, to look at the Chieftaincy Act. Critically, to find out how we can use strategic measures to resolve some of these issues without degenerating into the conflict we usually see. Speaker, most of these issues, when you get into it, the causative agent is minimal, small, something that to talk about, forgive my words and forgive my choice of words, will not be that significant to even blow a whole issue into a conflict. But we end up having them. And that is where majority of people take advantage of, and because of the conflict, do other things that are unnecessary. Speaker, I would crave on your indulgence, call on you to direct these and similar issues that have to do with conflict to the chieftaincy, to the committee that is relevant to deal with it. And if we can possibly make some amendments, some proposals, some strategies to the act, and then get the security agents to collaborate so that we can resolve majority of the issues that have to do with a chieftaincy in this country. And also commend the Member of Parliament for Nsawam Adwogyiri. I saw some of the footage and saw how he resolutely tried to resolve some of this impasse of the conflict, and also tried to provide some support to some of the victims that have been affected out of this conflict. I would commend him for such an act. and also commend every leader in Nsaum Adrei to calm down. Let tempest calm down so that we can resolve this matter peacefully. Then we can have the Nsaum Adrei that we all know as one peaceful community again, and which will also culminate into the general peace of this country. With these few words, Mr. Speaker, I want to once again commend the Speaker, the maker of the statement, and thank you too for giving me the opportunity. I'm grateful.
Thank you so much. Honorable members, this is a very important statement. For every event, there is an antecedent factor. We are told by the statement that the conflict is about chieftaincy. Honorable members, we know the institution of chieftaincy is governed by law. The Chieftaincy Act is there. And cause of matters affecting chieftaincy must be dealt with at the appropriate forum, either the traditional council, the regional house of chiefs, or the national house of chiefs, beyond which it must go to the Supreme Court. But it appears, instead of people petitioning the traditional council, the regional house of chiefs, to have their chieftaincy dispute resolved, they take the law into their own hands, leading to conflicts of this nature. I can only plead with the parties involved to resort to the use of the law to resolve their differences. I think that is the best way we should go as a country governed by law. Honourable members, whilst I add my voice in commending the security agencies for their prompt action, I would urge upon them to continue to intervene to protect life and property. I would wish to refer the statement to the minister responsible for local government, culture, and chieftaincy. Honourable members, statements accordingly directed to be transmitted to the minister responsible for local government. Are you on point of order?
Mr. Speaker, unfortunately, I don't think that I am in a place to be on a point of order against you, but I just wanted to draw your attention to make a suggestion that we make it a joint committee, given the security nature of the presentation, so that they can gather with the...
Well, I'm first referring the statement to the minister.
The minister, the honorable
Once
minister.
it is about chieftaincy dispute,
okay,
I think it can appropriately be dealt with by the minister responsible for chieftaincy, who doubles as the local government minister.
I'm rightly guided,
yes.
Mr. Speaker.
We also have a statement standing in the name of Adrei on the unhealthy relationship between the farmers and herdsmen in the Solatuna Kalba constituency. Honourable member, you have the floor.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise today with a heavy heart to address a matter of great concern, not only to my constituents in the Solatuna Kalba constituency, but to the entire farming community in Ghana. The issue at hand is the deteriorating relationship between farmers and herdsmen, a situation that has escalated into a national crisis with far-reaching implications for food security, social cohesion, and national stability. While I acknowledge the historical and economic significance of the herdsmen's presence in our communities, it is imperative to address the gloomy practices that have overshadowed their contributions and threaten the very fabric of our society.
Mr. Speaker, in Solatona Calva, Mr. Speaker, the situation in Solatona Calva has reached a critical point. Farmers who are the backbone of our local economy live in constant fear of losing their livelihoods. Herdsmen, sometimes armed and accompanied by large herds of cattle, have repeatedly allowed their animals to graze on farms, destroying crops that have taken months of herdsmen' hard work and investment to cultivate. Right, Honorable Speaker, the atrocities committed in Solatona Calva constituency in recent times are both horrifying and deeply distressing. In a community called Kole, a woman and her son were brutally butchered by a herdsman simply for attempting to drive stray cattle off their farm. In Jinavor, another community, a young boy was attacked and shot by a herdsman after he dared to question why cattle were allowed to invade his farm. In Dandapuri, another community, a farmer was mercilessly butchered on his farm by a herdsman with no provocation or justification. Another community, Honite, a herdsman assaulted a farmer, and when overpowered, a pistol and cutlass were discovered in his possession. Similar cases were recorded in Soma, Wula, Toro, and many more communities. Most recently, Mr. Speaker, the body of a herdsman was found buried in a farm at Wiekura, a community near Sola. Even more troubling is the fact that these herdsmen, most at times, falsely accuse some farmers, resulting in very unpleasant treatment being meted out to the farmers. These incidents are not isolated. They are part of a growing pattern of violence that is eroding the peace and stability of our communities. This cycle of bloodshed and destruction benefits no one and only deepens the mistrust and animosity between farmers and herdsmen. It is a tragic and unsustainable situation that demands immediate intervention. Mr. Speaker, it is clear that the current state of affairs is untenable. While we appreciate the economic role of herdsmen, we cannot allow their negative practices to continue unchecked. It is imperative that we take decisive action to address this issue before it spirals further out of control. I urge this House to consider the following measures. The establishment of a legal framework to regulate the activities of herdsmen and protect the rights of farmers. The promotion of dialogue and conflict resolution mechanisms to foster peaceful coexistence between farmers and herdsmen. The provision of support of alternative livelihoods for farmers, for herdsmen, such as ranching, to reduce their reliance on open grazing. Explore avenue for dialogue on how landowners can effectively settle herdsmen. Lastly, as a country, we need to exploit the benefits of ranching and adapt it to our benefit. In conclusion, Right Honorable Speaker, the unhealthy relationship between farmers and herdsmen in Solatona Calva and beyond is a pressing issue that demands our immediate attention. We must not turn a blind eye on the negative practices that have caused so much pain and suffering. It is our duty as representatives of the people to ensure that every citizen, regardless of their occupation or background, can live and work in peace. Let us act now before it is too late to restore harmony and prosperity to our communities. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Yes, Honorable Minister responsible for education.
Mr. Speaker, let me thank the Honorable Adrei Kiwete for the statement on what rather I will call, he describes it as an unhealthy relationship between farmers and herdsmen. I think, Mr. Speaker, what he ought and he's seeking to highlight is the growing insecurity in that corridor of the country. And any person traveling between Damangu towards Sola, and from Sola through my favorite town of Kulmasa, heading to Wa, Mr. Speaker, the deplorable road, and I'm happy Deputy Minister for Roads is here, the deplorable road network facilitates the work of criminals on that road because you cannot speed at a certain rate. You are limited to 20, 40 kilometers an hour on that road. Sometimes just less than 20 because you just can't speed. The criminals will have opportunity to stop you. So these days, when you have an activity in that area, I was there a month ago with him for Gonjaland Youth Congress to represent the president. We travel in fear. And when you see that the sun is setting, you don't even want to continue the journey in that particular area. So it is not just about herdsmen. It's about criminals hiding behind herdsmen. And because of the forest nature of that area, Mr. Speaker, I think that what we need is for the Minister for Interior to improve patrol and increase the number of patrols on that particular road, whilst government look to improve the road infrastructure generally in that particular area. I'm aware that the president is working under the big push to get Solar Wa and Solar Techima captured as part of it. That is under the mandate of the Honorable Minister for Roads. So, Mr. Speaker, then he talks about herdsmen, cattle, animals. Where do they feed? So in Ghana, it's open. And Mr. Speaker, those of us who are old in this house, my colleague, the former chair of the Constitutional Legal Committee, Konongo, you remember the Konongo incident and crisis in this house. It's similar to the picture the Honorable Kiwete is painting. And I believe, Mr. Speaker, we should give him the needed support up and elevate the security in that area, patrol it, and then deal decisively to punish those who are found engaging in those criminal activities in the area. Once again, Mr. Speaker, I want to commend him for the statement and to state that Solar Tuna Kalba, the people there are very, very friendly and generally very peaceful, and they just need to be assured of adequate security and protection. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable Kwame Anyimeru-Entwi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I sympathize with the maker of the statement and his constituents, the Solar Tuna Kaba constituency. Mr. Speaker, reading his statement, it reminds me of what I have gone through. I came to this house in 2009. Mr. Speaker, before I came, Honorable Kwajo Ban Redu of blessed memory had gone through the same problems within Asante Achim, then North. And I inherited what he came to do. He suggested that the herdsmen be given lands for ranching, which is amongst the remedies that the maker of the statement has stated. But Mr. Speaker, on a more serious note, we have hammered this consistently in this house. And I pray that we have to take a decision once and for all to solve this problem. Mr. Speaker, the problems that the herdsmen cause the maker of the statement was only able to give us an iceberg of it. Mr. Speaker, there was one man that we called Kojobila. He was the chairman at Mpese polling station. His neck was slashed. They killed him with a knife, slashed his throat. And I went to see the corpse with my naked eyes. On one occasion, a man was coming from the farm with his wife. And he saw some people struggling in the bush. They went to the bush to see what was happening. Mr. Speaker, you wouldn't believe what they saw. It was the mother-in-law of the mother, the wife that was behind his motorbike, the mother of it that a herdsman was raping in the bush. They have caused a lot of atrocities. Besides that, Mr. Speaker, we also have some people that also steal their cattle from them. And therefore, they are also armed with sophisticated weapons. So it is both sides. But we need to stop this. To say that farmers are caught with fear is understatement. Mr. Speaker, we all enjoy the yams that come from the north. And if farmers are not able to go and plant and harvest, we are doomed as a nation. So I pray, Mr. Speaker, amongst the things that the maker of the statement has stated, he stated that we should have about 4 solutions. Mr. Speaker, if I may quote what he has said, he said, 1, the establishment of legal framework to regulate the activities of herdsmen and protect the rights of farmers. 2, the promotion of dialogue and conflict resolution mechanisms to foster peaceful coexistence between farmers and herdsmen. 3, the provision of support for alternative livelihoods for herdsmen, such as ranching, to reduce their reliance on open grazing. I quite remember that there was a time that the then police command said that we have to bring them home and give them a place to ranch. Mr. Speaker, I was so angry on television, and I told them that the police headquarters, they have a place that they can ask the cattle to come and graze. But that was to tell them, send a message to them. Mr. Speaker, I believe that we need to, and this house, a committee has been set before. I don't know what came out of it. And Mr. Speaker, you need to get a comprehensive report. I had taken the herdsmen to court. I went with the RESEC in Ashanti region. I took RESEC to court on this. And the order was to flush the herdsmen from the premises of the plains, the Afram Plains, Agogo side of the Afram Plains. Mr. Speaker, little were they pushed to the Kumawo area, and it's an enclave. So I'm not surprised that normally they will start either from Nigeria and then they get to the north. At some point, they went to a place, most of them were bent and whatnot. Mr. Speaker, it is important that we get a committee to go across the nation and get a comprehensive report so that we can solve this once and for all. As I referred to, the then Minister of Finance, Honorable Kojo Banredu, said that the only way to go was to get a ranch for them because we need the meat, we need the milk, and so we have to coexist with the farmers. But the farmers, Mr. Speaker, most of them, even when you see pictures, when I went to court, I had all this evidence. Mr. Speaker, you'll be surprised. The way when they meet themselves, when they have an encounter, they slash themselves. Mr. Speaker, I can only conclude that they are very coward. So living with them is very difficult. We cannot continue to... I'm glad that he didn't say that we should provide for the alternative livelihood for farmers, because we need the farmers, but we need to protect the farmers so we would have our peace. The Honorable Minister for Education has said that probably some criminals are hiding behind them. I doubt that, Mr. Speaker. I doubt that anybody is hiding behind them. They have sophisticated weapons. They have serious, sharp matches, very sharpened. They have even AK-47. And Mr. Speaker, you'll be surprised that they are able to talk to the cattle and they obey them. They obey them. At some point, one is able to hold a horn, two of them, one here, and he commands, and then the cattle is taking the herdsmen away. It's difficult to get them. And against them, they are provoked also by some inhabitants. Some nationals also steal from them. And if it happens, and therefore what I will add, Mr. Speaker, is that please command, set a committee. We cannot continue this every day. When we come here, we make a statement, recommendations are made. Mr. Speaker, at the end of this, we must get a solution to that. Or probably if you could refer it to Security Committee to come out with a comprehensive report, Mr. Speaker, so that as a house, we will take a final and a final solution to this menace. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Yes, Honorable James Agalga.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to commend the maker of the statement for the bold attempt he has made in bringing to the fore certain important developments which have to do with the tensions between nomadic herdsmen and farmers in our country. Mr. Speaker, this matter is not new to this august House at all. At all. I recall that a similar statement was read in this House and a referral made to the Committee for Defense and Interior at a time when I served as a member, in fact, the ranking member. Mr. Speaker, the chair at the time when the statement was read actually instructed the committee to embark upon a tour of some selected countries within the sub-region to understudy the legal regime in those countries and make recommendations for adoption and implementation. Accordingly, Mr. Speaker, I recall that we visited Senegal and Niger, if my memory serves me right. Mr. Speaker, some of the useful findings we made when we visited Senegal in particular was that Senegal as a country which had in the past had issues to do with nomadic herdsmen and tensions arising between them and farmers, entered into bilateral arrangements. Bilateral agreements were struck between Senegal and countries where nomadic herdsmen usually would migrate in the course of the lean season. And some of those countries included Mauritania and Chad. So how did they do it? The government of Senegal has an agreement in place which requires the governments of Mauritania, Chad, where the nomads would normally come from, to notify the host state, which is in this case the state of Senegal. And once the notification is done, appropriate steps would be taken to properly host the herdsmen. And so the state of Senegal would make provision for the treatment of the herd. They will make provision for appropriate grazing areas. And that is where the concept of ranching becomes very, very crucial. In fact, as part of the bilaterals, the countries where the herds normally would originate sometimes pay in kind. They pay in kind. A number of the herd would normally be allocated as part of the payment in kind, and the government of Senegal would accept that readily. So at the end of the day, they know where to go to when the migration period arrives. They don't just move into Senegal and go to anywhere. I mean, ranches have been provided for, grazing fields have been allocated, and those fields are meant for grazing. So, Mr. Speaker, as a country which is affected by those tensions, we know there are frameworks in place. ECOWAS has a framework because the maker of the statement spoke about the adoption of a legal framework to deal with the problem. As a direct response, there is a framework in place. ECOWAS has a framework in place which deals with the question of transhumans and how they must be treated when they move into a host nation. But the problem is that implementation has become very difficult. In those circumstances, I think we must look beyond the legal framework provided for by ECOWAS and go into bilateral arrangements. So I would recommend that Ghana, for instance, should have a bilateral agreement with Burkina Faso. We need to have another bilateral with the Republic of Niger and Mali, where the heads normally come from.
Be guided by Order 93.5.
So, Mr. Speaker, I think I would like to commend the maker of the statement and to implore this Honorable House to take a second look at the report the committee actually came out with. It is there. I am sure if we come through the Hansard, we'll find it. We made very useful and critical recommendations. All we need to do now is to get the executive involved so that we can begin to implement some of those recommendations. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Yes, Honorable Zanato.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Yes, thank you very much. I would like to commend the Member of Parliament for Sola Tuna Kalba for such a very, very comprehensive and yet straight to the point statement. The suggestions he makes, Mr. Speaker, are very, very sound. And with regards to the establishment of a legal framework within the country, I am very keen on the fact that we find a way of integrating some of the modern technology that we can take advantage of, like tagging any cattle that end up in our jurisdiction in order to be able to track and trace. When you travel to any other country, you are meant to declare your goods. And nobody should feel that they can stray into the jurisdiction of Ghana without having to declare what they are bringing in. And cattle do not form any exemption to that, whether it's because of the disease risk or just being able to trace them to know where they are for the protection of our citizens as well as for them. Mr. Speaker, there should also be, as part of this legal framework, consideration in terms of stop and search, because there are so many unauthorized routes through which people enter the country that we cannot always be sure that what we're looking at as a group are people who went through authorized routes. So the concept of being able to stop and search some of these groups is important in order to be able to know whether they're carrying weapons that they're not meant to have for the protection of those that they shall encounter as well. So, Mr. Speaker, we have to make use of modern technology in terms of tagging animals that enter our jurisdiction and making use of our security service personnel to actually search some of these people who may be bringing into our jurisdiction weapons that may be used against our citizens. Mr. Speaker, in addition to that, we must understand that clearly things have changed now. We have nation states that have clear boundaries, and we cannot simply abide by the same ways we lived in the past. In the same way as as a Ghanaian, I cannot just go into a country in East Africa without having the relevant documents because we are all African. We must recognize that things have changed, and we must respect some of these laws that protect our citizens and don't turn them into second-class citizens at the expense of protecting foreigners. Mr. Speaker, I would like to reiterate the appeal by Honorable Agalga and Enimado that we actually look at how we bring back documents that were used in previous parliaments and see how we can apply the recommendations that were made with those committees and see how we can make progress in how we address this issue, because this is a problem that is clearly not coming to an end because we are not taking decisive action on it. And so, Mr. Speaker, I would like to urge that any recommendation with regards to referral to any committee relating to security must include the subsidiary legislation committee as well. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, honourable members. I humbly plead with you to end the comment on this particular statement here, since we have other statements to be taken. Unless if the leadership wants to comment on the statement, fine.
Mr. Speaker, mine is not on this matter. I've just had a discussion with the chief whip of our caucus on an application that was just made, and which application you granted. So I'd wanted to draw your attention to some fundamental facts for your consideration, if it so pleases you. Mr. Speaker, my respected colleague informs me that whilst dealing with the order paper, an application was made for variation for an addendum order paper item to be considered. I believe at the time the application came before you, you were not made aware of certain intervening matters. Hence, the granting of the application for the paper to be laid. Mr. Speaker, it is important to put on record that a fundamental administrative issue was raised. A memo was ferried to Mr. Speaker's office questioning the composition of the committee as well as the chairman's conduct. That memo has not been responded to. As a matter of right, Mr. Speaker would have to respond to the memo for all issues raised to be considered. Until we exhaust, it cannot be that this can be done, because, Mr. Speaker, if we are not careful and we set certain precedents, one day, it will come back and haunt this very house. Because Mr. Speaker set up the committee administratively, not through a motion or not through any effort of member of parliament. So we could only raise issue administratively. And there's a memo to his desk, which memo we added evidence of certain actions and pronouncements of the chair of the committee. The memo has not received a response. We've not dealt with the fundamental issues. How then can the chairman say that he's done with his work and he's laying a report when the preliminary issues that we have raised have not been addressed? Mr. Speaker, I am only bringing to the attention of this house that if today it suits one side of the house to proceed on a certain matter in a certain way, let the record reflect that someday, this matter will come up again and they will be referred to their own records. That's all I want to say.
Honorable Minority Leader, I think this issue crop up in your absence. The whips did very well, and the decision was taken that we should allow the paper to be laid, and thereafter there will be some engagement as to the way forward. Hence, the paper was late. The consequential motions were accordingly deferred to abide by the decision that may come out of the engagement. So I believe the leaders are enjoined to engage on this matter. So that was the agreement that we have reached, and that was my directions.
Speaker,
Yes,
I thank
Honorable
you for
Majority Chief Whip.
I thank you for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, the leader is welcome. I was hoping that his comments would have been in respect of whether or not there was a procedural impropriety regarding the laying. Leader is senior to me in this house. If you had a correspondence with the speaker and you are not getting a feedback, leader knows that you would have sent a reminder. But that didn't happen. So I believe that he ought to send a reminder to the speaker and said, we have a memo in respect of this matter. It's been some time. So may we have some response? But the committee is an ad hoc committee. They were given some timelines, and their work is done. And when we got back on Tuesday, as part of the opening comments from leadership as well as from Speaker himself, reference was made to outstanding referrals to committee, which reports were outstanding, and therefore there was an urgent need for those committees to get back to the House. So I believe that it was in response to such call for committees that have businesses to report back to the House. It was based on such the request that this committee has come today to lay its report. But like you said and agreed to, we laid a report. We haven't taken it. Further engagements are being had. So I believe that he has opportunity to participate in that process.
Yes.
And so the report can be taken later. So let me assure him that the door is not closed. Further engagements, like he anticipates, can be had. We are masters of our rules. We can always handle this matter. So it should calm down. We'll deal with this matter dispassionately. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, let me express satisfaction by way of the intervention from the Chief Whip of the majority, and particularly his choice of words by way of response. But Mr. Speaker, a fundamental preliminary matter cannot be washed away. And that is why I'm saying that I am bringing this to the attention of this House. Mr. Speaker, history will guide us. This House has had 37 or 33 against some 60 something. This House has had 137 before. This House had had 169 against some lesser odd number. And today, we are where we are. Mr. Speaker, I agree with him if he suggests to me that there will be an opportunity for engagement. But the understanding from my respected colleague was not to that effect. And I believe that fundamentally, the issue would have to be addressed before moving to the secondary stage of laying a report. Because, Mr. Speaker, when you say a report has been laid, it carries with it everything, including the very chair whose chairmanship we are questioning. I agree with you if you say that, yes, follow up with the Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would not want to make disclosures regarding my effort. But I believe that Mr. Speaker's office is an office of record. Once the minority leader ferries a memo stating reasons for an objection,
If Mr. Speaker responds to me, that would then leave me with another tool available to advance my next course of action. But Mr. Speaker, I am saying that the records of this House should reflect that this happened this day in this form. If this House would allow this to happen, I am fine. Maybe today I will be at the receiving end. But nobody knows tomorrow, particularly 28.
So, Minority
Mr. Speaker,
Leader,
so Mr. Speaker, may I conclude?
what exactly has the House done wrong?
Mr. Speaker, what I'm saying, respectfully, I would want to plead with you that hear me in full rather than putting a question to me. What I'm saying is that at the time the House accepted for this paper to be laid, I am sure the House was unaware of the intervention administratively. That is why I'm saying that I'm bringing this to the attention of the House, that there was a memo, and Mr. Speaker, don't let us forget one thing, that the committee was set up through an administrative directive by the Speaker. So I could only deal with any objection administratively, and that is what I did. Maybe you are not aware. Mr. Speaker, I believe that if you were aware that I had written a memo challenging the chairman's conduct, you would have asked for the response.
Honorable Minority
Yes,
Leader,
Mr. Speaker.
if a paper is presented, and assuming but not admitting that representation was done by error, is there not a remedy for it under our rules?
Mr. Speaker, that's a different matter. I am raising a fundamental issue, bringing that to the attention of the House. That being the case, Mr. Speaker, if it is your pleasure that we would have an opportunity to deal with it at a later date, or even there can be some discussion, so be it. But I do not get that impression from my colleague, the
that
Chief
is
Whip.
why I am telling you, as the person presiding at the time that the paper was laid, that the direction was that after laying the paper, the report of the committee, leadership would engage, therefore would defer the consequential motions. The motions were not going to be taken. So therefore, after the engagement, if it is established that the paper ought not to have been laid, our rules would direct us as to what to do in the circumstances. So once leadership, you are going to engage, let's abide by the outcome of that engagement.
Mr. Speaker, we'll raise the matter to the extent that the engagement will give rise for us to discuss the memo and all. I think it's a fair point, and I would rest my case on that point. Thank you very much.
Minority Leader, I don't think you have a case to rest in the first place. Honourable members, can we make progress? Not on this matter. Let's make progress. Not on this matter. I am of the view that we should put this matter to rest. Honourable members, I intend to direct that the statement made by the Honourable Member for Sola, Tuna, Karba, on the unhealthy relationship between farmers and herdsmen be transmitted to the Minister responsible for Interior. Honourable Member, thank you for making this statement. Honourable members, we have a statement standing in the name of Nana Ajiman-Prempeh, Member of Parliament for Ahafo-Ano North Constituency, on the election of MMDCs. Honourable Member, you have the floor.
Speaker, there are actually two statements. The one also stands in the name of the Honorable Koko, but that of Koko is commemorative. So if it is the case that you are going to admit one, then we should rather take that of Koko, which is commemorative and it falls on today. Then we can have Adjournment statement taken tomorrow. So I'll leave that. It's a suggestion. I'll leave the decision.
Very well. Then we then proceed to give the floor to Honorable Koko Asante.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to make a statement in commemoration of the World Menstrual Hygiene Day, which is observed annually on May 28th. This important day is dedicated to breaking the silence, raising awareness, and promoting action to the critical issue of menstrual hygiene management. This year marks a decade when the first observance of menstrual hygiene was initially observed in 2014. The initiative has grown globally into a movement, and the theme this year is Together for a Period-Friendly World. The emphasis on together is not merely symbolic. It's a powerful call to shared responsibility and collective action. Mr. Speaker, menstruation is a natural process. It's a biological process just like breathing. Yet millions of girls in Ghana and across the world continue to face stigma, shame, and embarrassment, and significant barriers in managing their monthly menstrual cycle with dignity. Many girls miss school and sports and social activities each month simply because they lack the access to sanitary products, safe changing facilities, safe private changing facilities, and clean water. In rural and low-income communities, these challenges are even more severe. Let us be unequivocal. Menstrual health is not a luxury. Menstrual health is not a luxury. It is a human right, aligned with the UN SDG target number 6. It is intricately linked to education, health, and gender equality and economic empowerment. When we fail to ensure access to menstrual hygiene for all, we are not merely neglecting the needs of women and girls, we are compromising our national development. Mr. Speaker, on this occasion, I join voices around the world in urging this House to consider policy and budgetary interventions that will significantly improve menstrual health outcomes in Ghana. These include incorporating menstrual health education into school curricula to combat stigma and misinformation. There's a lot of myth and stigma. Some communities even consider the monthly cycle as taboo, so girls and women cannot participate in certain activities during that time. Ensuring the provision of gender-friendly changing facilities in schools, workplaces, and public institutions is also critical. Mr. Speaker, it is disappointing that we continue to witness lack of urgency and commitment in addressing hygienic needs of our schoolgirls and women. Despite numerous promises, we have seen very little on the provision of gender-friendly sanitation facilities essential for safe and dignified menstrual hygiene management. The President and the government must be reminded that platitudes and symbolic gestures are not enough. Our girls need bold investment, real infrastructure, and leadership that prioritizes their dignity and well-being. Mr. Speaker, as part of efforts to mark this day, the Menstrual Hygiene Day, I had the honor on Monday, May 26th, to engage students in the 2 high schools in my constituency, Etiwa West. The schools were Bomosu STEM Senior High School and the Kwabing Anglican Senior Technical High School, where we spoke to them on menstrual hygiene and the urgency and the importance of mental wellness and teenage pregnancy. During these visits, I also distributed sanitary pads to the girls in the two schools for their well-being. The education was very important. The girls interacted, and you could tell that they were very interested, and you could tell that education was really needed there, especially teenage pregnancy. Menstrual Hygiene Day reminds us that no woman or girl should be held back because of their monthly period. I therefore call on all members of Parliament, relevant ministries, civil society organizations, and the private sector to unite in building a Ghana where menstruation is no longer a barrier, it is no longer a shame, it is no longer an obstacle to dignity, education, and full participation in society. Together, we can create a period-friendly Ghana. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. Commemorative statement ably made. The floor is now open for members' comment.
Why? Don't you have a wife?
Yes, Honorable Member, you have the floor. Honorable Zuwera, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to this commemorative statement made by my colleague, the MP for Etiwa West. I think it's a very important statement, especially coming on the heels of the recent launch of the free sanitary pads for girls by Excellency President John Dramani Mahama on the 24th of April 2025. Mr. Speaker, we've read several statements in this chamber on this very important subject matter. His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama listened to our statement, actualized our aspirations, and actively acted on our demands and requests to support the girl child in order that the girl child can have free and safe menstrual hygiene. Mr. Speaker, I don't know how many of my colleagues here were at the Salvation Army School at Mamprobi on 24th April. And I think on that day, anyone who was there would agree with me that we came face to face with the emotions of mothers. We came face to face with the emotions of the girl child in respect to their menstrual cycle. We watched a sketch enacted by the school children, and it told the whole story. We didn't have to pull this. The whole story about how the girl child navigates this natural sequence of their lives on a monthly basis was told to us by parents. We saw how the girl child on that day clamored for the free sanitary pads that the Gender Ministry and the Education Ministry had taken along in order for the launch to be successful. And Mr. Speaker, we heard His Excellency the President speak. We heard the Minister of Education speak. We heard the Gender Minister speak. But most importantly, we heard the girl child. And the girl child told us that that singular initiative of the free sanitary pad was going to address a bigger problem than we thought we knew. Mr. Speaker, we left the launch happy, inspired, to continue to do our work in advocating for more recognition for the girl child. One of the things we wondered about was what was going to be the distribution mechanism for these free sanitary pads to our various schools. Mr. Speaker, I sat here this morning and I got a message with a picture accompanying the message of the free sanitary pads being distributed in my beloved Salaga South constituency. Mr. Speaker, this is how pragmatic this government takes this issue of the distribution of the free sanitary. 1 month after the launch, the sanitary pads are out there in the schools for the young girls so that they can continue to go to school and reach their potential and life ambition. Mr. Speaker, we have nothing else to add but to say a very big thank you to His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama for listening to the cries of the young people of this country. He's told us that his government is going to be committed to ensuring that the girl child stays in school. And he's shown the first indication. We are grateful. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Thank you. Yes, Honourable Member, you have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I would also want to associate myself with the statement made by the Honourable Member for Itiwa West. Right Honourable Speaker, the MP for Salaga South has said it all. I was very surprised that in making the statement, the maker would not make a bit of a reference to what this government is doing to bring relief to the young women of Ghana. But apart from the pads, Right Honourable Speaker, menstrual hygiene goes beyond just the provision of sanitary pads. I think that at the level of our schools, we would have to look at how to make privacy possible for these young girls. Because if you have the sanitary pad and you don't have a place where you can change it, then definitely you are going to have a problem. Apart from that, we must also look at the disposal of these products when they are done. Because once the towel or the tampon is used, then there should be a proper mechanism to dispose it, since that will cause some public health hazards to the people around. Right, Honourable Speaker, when we talk about menstrual health, all we are thinking about is menstrual blood. But we are not even looking at the danger it poses to the female child in the future. If this hygiene is not done right, a lot of our girls are exposed to a lot of infections, like bacterial vaginosis, etc. And trust me, in the future, the commonest thing that people come across, or that comes across to people in hospitals, especially when it comes to the female child, is going to be infertility. The state, families, etc., spend a lot of money when it comes to the issue of infertility, when it comes to issues of providing women that want to have children. So what I'm saying is, the issue of menstrual health is not just the provision of sanitary towels and tampons. We must look, one, at the availability of privacy for these children in school to change. We must look at, two, how we are going to dispose of these materials that are being produced at the end from the young girls. And then lastly, this government, for me, as somebody that comes from a village, as somebody that relates with young women that miss school, this free sanitary towel project is the best ever social intervention thing that we can do to bridge that gender inequality that we have. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity.
Yes, Honourable Member, you have the floor. I think we'll take the last comment on this statement.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. And let me take this opportunity to associate myself with the statement that was made by our sister from Itiwa West. Mr. Speaker, I think the issues have already been raised by her and those who have contributed, but I have just one or two comments to pass and ask, particularly with regards to the government program in providing sanitary pads for our ladies. First and foremost, we had the benefit of government sharing those pads to the ladies or to our girls. Unfortunately, I don't know if it was just a sheer coincidence, but they were sharing it even to boys. Boys were even being given part of the pads on the day that they were sharing, and I was wondering the basis upon that.
Honourable Member, do you have the evidence?
Oh, it's on record. You can watch the day. We watched it on TV. So we can go back.
Honourable Member, do you have the evidence?
Mr. Speaker, it's with GBC.
Can you provide the evidence?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, we will request from GBC to provide. Mr. Speaker, so the import of what I'm actually saying.
Remember, if you don't have the evidence, retract your statement.
Mr. Speaker, I'm guided. So I'm guided to withdraw. It's withdrawn. Mr. Speaker, second, the issue has to do with the plan of government to make these parts to our ladies sustainable. Here is the case, we have supplied them only as a one-off thing. We know that the menstrual cycle for a woman is monthly. So when you provide it for them once, what is the intention to support them over the year? And we look at the budget implication for these supplies. And you are asking whether the budgetary allocation for the purchase of these sanitary pads were made available to the ministry to supply these pads for our ladies. So my call on the Minister for Gender is to ensure that we don't just do politics for politics' sake. This is a real need for our ladies. And also, it is not every lady that will require the sanitary pad. We have people who are really in need of these sanitary pads. And so it should be a well thought through thing. Government should make sure that we make it available for those in need so that at the end of the day, we can achieve the purpose for it. Mr. Speaker, to end it, I'm concerned again as to this provision of sanitary or washrooms for our children in the basic schools. My colleague on the other side talked about accessibility to disposal. But even water, these are ladies, when they visit the washrooms, they need water to wash their hands and also to even do the other things that they do. So my request is for government to ensure that we make access to water available for our schools. Government has indicated that electricity is available for our schools, but we should go beyond electricity and make sure that we get water also for them. Then at the end of the day, we can improve this issue. On that note, I think I'll congratulate the maker of the statement for making this for us. Thank you very much, Right Honourable.
Honourable members, statement time is ended. Statement time is ended. Yes, Deputy Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I think we have exhausted what we want to do today. So I would like to move that we bring proceedings to an end for today and come back tomorrow at 10 o'clock.
Motion move for adjournment. Any seconder?
This attention to the discussion we had at conclave. that the Speaker had directed that from tomorrow we will start at 2 p.m. That was a directive. I'm sure maybe you came in a bit late, before you came in. So, Speaker, if you may take that on board, that from tomorrow sitting will start at 2 p.m. That was a directive. Yeah.
Very well, yes. Yes.
You should make the application properly, taking on board the time for sitting tomorrow, and then I can.
So he's on his feet.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I think that happened before I joined the meeting at the conclave this morning with Mr. Speaker. So if 2 o'clock is what Mr. Speaker has directed, then, of course, that will be the time that we will come in tomorrow. So I move that we adjourn and come back to tomorrow. Thank you.
I rise to support the motion move.
Thank you very much. Honourable members, motion has been moved and seconded, and the question is, as many as are in favor of the motion for adjournment, say aye. Those against, say no. The ayes have it. The House is accordingly adjourned to tomorrow.
I just got a call from the Secretariat, the Speaker's Secretariat, that he will do a further engagement before the 2 p.m. Takes effect. So we should start tomorrow at the usual time, 10.
Very well. So the House is accordingly adjourned to Thursday, the 29th May, 2025 at 10 o'clock in the forenoon.